recently someone asked me, what's the name of the character of the book you're reading? And I couldn't remember. And do you know why? Because it wasn't a compelling character, because they didn't have a memorable character arc. And if you're writing a novel, it's really important for you to understand what makes a great character arc and how to make it. And that is what we'll be talking about today. All right, here we are, week 9 of Write Your Book in 90 Days. And today we're going to be talking about something that is essential if you want to write a book that people want to read. And that topic is character arc. Now, a lot of new writers are like, well, I don't even understand what character arc is. And so I hope that I can explain that to you today in a way that makes you completely understand it so that you can write a compelling character that has a complete arc. And there are, just to say up front, there are 3 types of character arcs, and I'm not really going to address that today. But if that is something that's interesting to you, then make sure you ask me about that. Okay, so this is where you should start recording. All right. Today we're talking about character arc, and what you need to understand about character arc is that to get it right, you do need to know your character's lie and fear. Rewind 2 weeks ago when we talked about creating your character, creating a compelling character using my method, which was the character chart. Of course, you can use any method you want, but you do need to understand these important factors about your character. Why is that? Because in real life, we have fears. We have lies that we believe. And because of that, when your character also has those things and you get that across to your readers, then your readers connect. They go, oh, yeah, I totally get that because I'm afraid of X too. Or, well, I'm afraid of Y, not Z like they are, but I totally understand why that's making them react this way. Okay. So first things first, to have a complete character arc, you do not need to necessarily have all these things, both these things come true at the exact same time. Okay. But they do need to come true. So the character has to overcome their lie. They have to realize their lie is false. And in the best stories, they adopt the truth. They find out the truth. They learn the real truth about themselves and they accept that. And that is going to give you the best and most positive character change. And then let's talk about the fear. So they have the greatest fear based on their Black moment that they've had when something horrible happened and they fear it's going to be replayed again. At some integral level, some part of that will be replayed. And the thing about our fears is that we can see them anywhere and everywhere. And you should, throughout your story, be dropping that fear in to even in small situations. So it's really reinforced with the reader that this is a big deal to your character, that this plays an important part in who they are, how they make decisions, because we all base our decisions on our fears. We go, nope, I'm afraid of that, so back it up. Some people more courageous and they're willing to face those fears down. But if you have a character like that, you need to make sure that they have a fear that's big enough that they have a hard time facing it down. Because if you don't, then there's no conflict, there's no tension, and it's not going to compel readers to keep reading forward. Okay, so today I really want to talk about your character's epiphany. So this is a really essential part of your character arc, and that is when they have the epiphany. And we should all understand what epiphany is. That's a realization when you go, oh, light bulb moment. That's why I use that graphic here on this slide. But it's a realization by your hero or shero that the lie is false or the fear is not going to happen. Like I said before, first off, they don't both have to happen at the same time. In the best stories, they will both happen, but they don't have to happen at the same time. Okay. And a lot of times you will confront the inner one before the outer one. So the inner one really is the lie. The fear is more of an outer thing that you will come up in the events that happen in your story. So usually that one gets debunked in the biggest battle, in the great battle, and the 75% turning point mark, second plot point, which we'll talk about next time. So the epiphany a lot of times happens after the black moment. Sometimes it happens in the black moment. But it is those black moment events that lead to the epiphany, whether it's about the fear or the lie, usually the lie, because again, that's the internal struggle. But that they can happen in the same event, and they don't have to happen in the same event. But they can happen really quickly. Sometimes this epiphany will happen in 2 paragraphs. Sometimes you have an entire sequel that is a scene that has no action, but is instead about character development, inner dialogue, a conversation maybe with a friend to talk things out. So it can happen either way. It just depends on the type of story you're writing. In women's fiction, a lot of times it's going to be a sequel, because that's the whole reason why the women are picking up this book, is because they want that character change. They want that epiphany. They want to be along for the ride for that. But if you're writing adventure, if you're writing fantasy where there's actually going to be a battle between good and evil at the climax of your story, then it might only happen in a couple paragraphs as they're doing something. They go, wait, I realize this is false. My lie is not true because XYZ. Because we do have thoughts as we're doing stuff. A lot of times we get so caught up in the action of a scene that we forget that what's going on inside of our character often plays a very important part in the readers getting the most out of our story. And then the reason that you need the epiphany is because that is what allows your character to change. Okay, so we want to write dynamic characters who change over the course of the story. Those are the best characters, in my opinion. There is such a thing as a flat character arc, and there is such a thing as a negative character arc, which is a change, but toward the worst. But I'm going to speak specifically to the positive character arc. Okay, your character has their epiphany. Now they go, wait, I can face my story problem, whatever it is. I can battle this bad guy. Okay, whatever it is, they are now empowered by the truth to face the change. Okay, so they can now do, as Susan May Warren likes to say, at the end of the story, what they couldn't do at the beginning of the story, which was why we had a story. Does your character have an epiphany? Do you understand what it is? Do you understand how the character arc works now? If you have more questions, please drop them in the comments below, because I would love to help you out, make the most compelling characters so that your books are memorable. And if you are looking for a connected writing community, I ask that you would check out Write Your Book Nook. You know, that costs you nothing to join. Just click over there, scan through our posts, see if you find something helpful. We've got members there who, when they have a story question about their problem, they drop it in there and they get lots of things from, would anyone like to beta read, to, hey, here's my blurb, could you help me work it out, to, okay, I really like this concept, but how would I make that work? So anyway, thanks for joining me today on Write Your Book with Sharon Hughson. And until next time, keep writing.